I just reacted to the Witcher 4 tech demo, not gameplay. I don't know. It might be kind of gameplay. They don't ever really explain how these things work. They just said that it's running on a PS5 Pro. I don't know what that means. Maybe Mutahar knows what that means. But he says, please don't pre-order this. And I scrubbed through the first few seconds of the thumbnail video before I added it to my watch later list to see what it was about. And it's about The Witcher 4, so let's get into it.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and never ever pre-order, don't ever get hyped for a video game.
True. I haven't pre-ordered a video game since Black Ops 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know it sounds negative when I put it that way, but I'm actually being pretty serious. You know, yesterday when I was putting on that final touches for the internal affairs video, what was really funny about it too was that the same day, all right, there was a big reveal for a game known as Witcher 4.
Pre-ordering a game that you get a digital version of is actually kind of insane to me. I don't know why people do it. It's not like they're gonna run out of copies.
Now, you guys probably know about Witcher 4, okay? You probably know about the Witcher series. Pretty popular open world RPG. Well, yesterday,
I've never finished a single Witcher game. I've got about 120 hours into Witcher 3. Still haven't finished it.
They had an Unreal Engine 5 tech demo.
Yeah, tech demo. I keep seeing that people calling it gameplay and that they're ready to play this game, and I'm just like, this is not what it's gonna be like.
Now, I saw a whole bunch of these clips floating around on the internet, and everyone was like, whoa, look at the graphics. Look at the graphics. Ooh, the thing looks damn near realistic. So it actually does look like a pretty good looking tech demonstration. And apparently
it's not even that great. I mean, like, it's incredible, yeah. But there's a bunch of weirdness in it that doesn't have to be in it. Such as the saturation of the colors. I don't get that. And it's not even really the tech demo's fault, it's the design of the game's fault.
According to the developers, this was running at 60 frames per second with ray tracing on what appears to be a PlayStation 5. Not even the PlayStation 5 Pro, from what I understand.
Oh, it wasn't even the Pro, it was just a PS5.
The goddamn PlayStation 5 base. And obviously those horse testicles look great. I mean, the skin looks perfect on it. The water reflections look great. Everything's ray traced. I mean, they did not skimp on the visual quality for this game. And again, you know, this is something
tech demo
where I was a little bit hesitant. I was wondering, whoa, are they really giving up their CD red engine for this? When in reality, it looks pretty nice. Look, they're walking through this in-game town, and apparently these are assets from the game.
I think The Witcher 3 looks better. I mean, yeah, there's a lot more people, and they're doing a lot more things, and they're a lot more animated, but just the way everything else looks, like the ground, the grass, the buildings especially, I'm not really a fan of.
This, from what I understand, will be a town, and it looks pretty lively. You got people being thrown out, you got so much life happening. And I was like, all right, this looks pretty cool. Okay, maybe it's worth getting a little bit of hype for. And no, ladies and gentlemen, lest I remind you of the gaming industry and their lies.
Well, awesome, great, wonderful, of course.
Now, obviously, I think Projekt Red, let's rip the Band-Aid off, okay? I'm going to remind you guys very quickly. Cyberpunk 2077 was revealed in a gameplay walkthrough.
I keep telling people this, man. Witcher 4 is gonna be a Witcher 3 Cyberpunk 2077 disaster. Nobody remembers that Witcher 3 was also a disaster when it came out. It was a buggy mess.
Back in E3 2018, when E3 was a real thing. And you know what? Back in the day, all right, and even for a lot of game developers, usually in their gameplay footage, it'll be work in progress does not represent the final look of the game. Now, these words, this whole sentence, if you will, does a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to the final release of the product. Now, obviously, back when this came out, I'll be real with you, I was completely hyped for...
Yeah, me too. I was hyped all the way back in the first reveal. I don't even remember when that was. What was that, like 2014 or something? 2016? I don't even remember. But it was crazy how hyped I was for this for so long. And then it came out and it hurt. It hurt me. It was worse than Duke Nukem Forever.
Cyberpunk 2077, I was all in. I was ready. The moment that the actual E3 gameplay went down to this floor, like the bottom floor of the first apartment that you get in the game, the main apartment, when I saw the amount of characters walking, the crowds, like, forget the graphics.
Yeah, we've seen this before, guys. Look at the crowds in Witcher 4. Look at how live the village is. Look at how animated everything is. Yeah, I remember Cyberpunk. I remember the reveals for Cyberpunk.
And the lighting, a lot of this stuff isn't even close to as taxing as all of these NPCs and the variety of these NPCs on the screen. And the reason why this got me very hyped was, for the first time, I actually saw a real marketable increase on open world games since Grand Theft Auto 5. You know, I still say that Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of the most impressive open world games out there, and I was full ready for this. You know, I was expecting CD Projekt Red, with how good Witcher 3 was, that they were actually going to replicate the same game, and it did look like a fucking proper game. You know, it actually had the limitations on screen. However, obviously, we all remember when this game dropped, it was a big doo-doo dog shit.
So was Witcher 3. Nobody remembers this. It was...
One of the big scariest things was they were not advertising what the game looked like on the base PlayStation 4, on the base Xbox One, and there was a good reason for that, because the game ran like dog shit. And even if you had a professional system or the PS5s or whatever, yeah, the game would run smoother.
And honestly, I'm just tired of all these game companies coming out with these demos, these tech demos, and these, like, reveal trailers, and advertising, look how pretty it looks. And then it comes out and the gameplay is dog shit.
But the game would be locked down with a lot of actual game-breaking bugs. Like, forget the fact that the game didn't even look close to what it looked like in this E3 trailer at launch. The actual gameplay was so full of bugs and crashes that even if you could find the fun, I think everyone could probably agree that it was not a game that anybody should have pre-ordered. And pre-ordered they did, and
I don't think any game should be pre-ordered, even ones that you really, really want, that you've been hyped for years and years. Stop it. Get it on day one if you have to. I don't even do that. I just wait for sales. I do not buy full price games, especially $70. $80? Hell no.
Hype they were, because ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the hype for Cyberpunk 2077, in case you ever missed it, like, absolutely set the gaming world on storm. Okay, this game was announced literally when I started my YouTube channel. It was released, what, like 2020, 2021, and it took literally until last year with the release of Phantom Liberty that the game actually finally is one of the best games that I ever played.
Yep, and that's when I did a 100% complete run through of it and did everything.
You know, honestly, if Cyberpunk 2077 released in the state that it currently is in, back when it was originally released, I swear to God, this game would have probably broken so many different records. The perception around it would be so dramatically different.
I know so many people still who haven't played it and acknowledge that it is fixed and it's awesome, but they just can't because they played it back when it came out. I try to explain to them, it's like, it's pretty much a different game now. Because it plays different, the mechanics are different, the skill tree is different, but still, like, they can't do it. It burned them too bad.
But it's also one of the reasons why I collect physical copies. Nobody can ever girl boss gaslight me into knowing that this game wasn't always perfect. I still have that PS4 version of Cyberpunk 2077. Shit, I'm still sitting on footage of an entire playthrough of that game at 1.0. And let me tell you, alright, it's like fucking being waterboarded with how bad it can get. But of course, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude, when I was playing, cars kept disappearing into the road and then just would go flying and explode. They would just enter the stratosphere. And sometimes when I'd run and slide, I'd just like keep sliding until I slid out of the world. It happened a lot. Or I'd be driving down the road, all alone, no vehicles on the road, and all of a sudden, vehicles everywhere and they all explode.
To tie it all back to like The Witcher 4, obviously, I think CD Projekt Red has kind of earned a little bit of okay, I think CD Projekt Red ain't entirely all that bad, okay? They've obviously earned back a lot of the goodwill, for me at least. But given Cyberpunk 2077,
I think half of CD Projekt Red is pretty good, if that. And then there's also some woke weirdos there. And I think they're really the ones who are holding it back.
getting hyped for a video game that looks like this, looks good by the way, is just not something worth doing until the gaming industry actually releases it. Like, yes, it looks nice, it looks impressive, and
yeah, I don't get hyped for anything. Everything that I see, I shit all over. Even if I want it, even if it looks like a 10 out of 10, I'm gonna shit all over it. I'm gonna find something, man.
a lot of the tech is really cool, but given the fact that it's Unreal Engine 5, what scares the shit out of me...
Poor optimization? That is not actually gonna look and run anything like that, and it already kinda had problems. It seemed to me like that tech demo was barely held together like that.
Is how it's gonna run on the PC. Now, there are two things that scare me as somebody who games on the PC, okay? Whenever I go on Steam and I'm hitting that add to cart button...
There's gonna be that weird world drag. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody who's played modern Unreal games with a slightly lesser graphics card. I got a pretty decent graphics card too. And still, like Oblivion, it has that weird world drag where it feels like whenever you turn that the world is lagging. Usually the character yourself would lag in a game, but no. The entire world looks like it's just dragging. Like, you know? And you can barely tell. But it's just enough that it just makes me uncomfortable.
The things that scare me are A, de novo anti-cheat, okay, or de novo at all. Just having that dog shit near my computer makes me feel like I have fucking AIDS crawled up my ass and fucking metastasized through my system. It's just not fun, okay?
Yep, I do not like any kind of DRM anything or anti-cheat. None of that shit. I just want my file, man. I want a complete game. I don't want a million patches I have to download.
And then the second of all is Unreal Engine, okay? Unreal Engine is just one of those game engines where if developers use it right, games can look just jaw-droppingly amazing, okay? But sometimes I personally feel that some of the feature set in the game...
They use Unreal Engine because they're lazy. They want to make things easier and have these nice tools that make things easier on them as a game developer to make the biggest and best game that they can possibly make that they don't need to make. They don't have to make the biggest, best game, because usually when they're shooting for that, they end up destroying themselves. It needs style. It needs heart. It needs soul. Blood, sweat, and tears. Not money and workarounds. We used to have to work around limitations. Now we work around having to do more work.
Nanite, Lumen, ray tracing, all of that stuff. I feel personally that if I enable some of these graphical features that makes games look marginally better, like toggle on ray tracing, oh, it looks kind of better, 30 frames per second. Toggle it off, oh yeah, the game doesn't look all that great. I mean, the game doesn't look as good, maybe like, 5%, shittier.
Yeah, how about you toggle that frame generation? Make all of the foliage look fuzzy. And every time you swing a weapon, it kind of leaves some particles behind.
120 frames per second. You bet your ass I'm slapping that ray tracing right the fuck off. Like, who do you think you is, brother? I'm getting 4 times the frames without this dog water. But yeah, it makes me worry because this game does look pretty, and obviously I don't really have issues with Unreal Engine games on consoles.
I have an issue with the colors. It's just like color puked with blue and purple and green, which I really like those colors. Purple and green are 2 of my favorite colors. 2 of my favorite colors to slap together. I love purple and green aesthetic. When it makes sense. It's like they're trying to be ultra realistic, but then also trying to look oversaturated and pretty in the town.
But usually for PC, bro, my experience has been stuttering and stuttering and stuttering.
Yep, and drag. Like pixel drag, where you move and you can still see like the blur of your sword. Even though I have all the blur anything turned off.
I mean, these games release effectively crippled on PC, and I don't have a lot of faith in Unreal Engine 5. I think the only Unreal Engine 5 game I've played on PC that actually worked day one and didn't require me tinkering probably was Fortnite, and I'm sure that's literally because it's fucking Epic Games putting the game together. Now,
I think that Silent Hill F is probably going to be pretty good because it's not this giant open world game. It's a smaller game. I think Unreal Engine is perfect for smaller games. But when these giant AAA companies use it, they're literally just doing it to be lazy.
Now, one of the reasons why I don't always get hyped too is obviously a lot of game developers, when it comes to their E3 reveals or just pre-release footage, there are versions of games that, literally release incomplete, right? And it takes years until the games are finally patched where, people are actually going to sit there and be like, all right, this is finally what was first advertised.
Yeah, see? This is what I'm talking about. Witcher 3 was a fucking disaster. Not only was it not looking as good as it was supposed to, and they lied about that, but it was a buggy mess.
I remember from like 2 years ago on Reddit, there was like this post where the people took the 2014 gameplay demo for Witcher 3, and obviously even at launch, it didn't look nearly as good until, of course, the complete edition where they actually added in a whole bunch of upgrades to the game, put it out on PS5, Series X systems, and it now started to look better than what we actually saw in the original E3 2014 demo. Now, for me, getting hyped for video games because of how good they look doesn't even extend entirely just to every company. Maybe there's one logical exception that I have, and that's probably Rockstar Games, and that's only for the reason that typically when you look at Rockstar Games, a lot of video games that they showcase actually do get an upgrade. Like if you look at old trailers for Red Dead Redemption 2 and compare it to the final actual release that you could buy, yeah, there was actually a marketable upgrade. GTA 4, yeah, you look at the old trailers when the game was launching on the PS.
Honestly though, even though GTA 4 technically looks worse than GTA 5, I like the way GTA 4 looks way better. I like the filter that they use. I just like the vibe of the city more.
PS3, Xbox 360, and by the time it released, there wasn't really a graphical downgrade. And really, same with GTA 4. So they kind of earned over, basically almost 2 decades, the right for us to kind of trust them when it meant showing gameplay.
Yeah, I don't mind if Rockstar kind of has this ultra realistic look because they also have a GTA vibe going on that they somehow keep, even though they're looking ultra realistic. You can pretty much tell you're playing a Rockstar game. It's like the design of the characters in the world and the filter, It's like the way everything comes together just looks Rockstar. But all these other games that are trying to look ultra realistic and also using Unreal Engine looking ultra realistic, everything looks the same. Like when this game comes out, you can take screenshots of Witcher 4, take screenshots of Oblivion Remastered, and just show them to people and be like, which one is which? Which one's Oblivion? Which one's Witcher? I bet half of them are wrong. Because everybody's just going to be guessing.
Now, even though I just praised Rockstar Games for not lying to the consumer, let's not forget, 3 years ago at this point, we were blessed with Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy.
Honestly, I don't think Rockstar had anything to do with this. Any of the marketing or anything. I think they just believed the company that made these, that they had working on these, and just put everything out without thinking about it, without checking it. Which is on them for not vetting it, but, I give them about 20% of the blame.
Now, I remember when I saw this trailer, I was like, whoa, I get to play the 3 GTA games I grew up with back to back?
I knew they were going to mess it up, though.
With upgraded visuals? Oh my god, it looks actually amazing until the game drops, and it's probably one of the buggiest dog shit releases, and it really did take probably 3 years to actually patch this game up. For a very short while, this was a game that was actually better to play on your phone than actual PCs and consoles, because somehow when Netflix got involved, they made sure that lighting was better represented to the original games that they were remastering from.
I didn't know Netflix got involved with that. That's crazy. Netflix been getting more involved in games recently. I saw that they have a Civ 6 on the phone.
But yeah, you can't trust gaming companies because every time you see footage like this, it could be a complete Complete lie. You know, one of the biggest sets of E3 lies I ever saw was probably Ubisoft. Okay, so 12 years ago, back in E3 2012.
Oh, here we go. Fucking Ubisoft. The company that everybody wants to defend. Not everybody. I mean, like, everybody on all the weirdos who don't actually play games. And then a bunch of normal people who were just, like, not even paying attention.
When we thought the world was going to end or some shit. This was something that Ubisoft showed. And by the way, this is still publicly available to view. I am surprised that...
Wait, is this about The Division? I remember something about The Division where they lied. Or was it Rainbow Six Siege? Or was it Rainbow Six Hardline? What was that? Battlefield. No, that was a different company. I don't know. All these companies are the same, man. They release similar games.
Ubisoft was never sued for what you're about to see. But back then, I was blown away for Watch Dogs, right? Watch Dogs, which I still...
Oh, Watch Dogs. I forgot that that was even a thing.
think is a great game. This is actual footage they showed. Now,
yeah, I remember this. Where they were like... It was mind-blowing. I remember seeing this at E3. It blew my mind. I was like, I can't believe games can look like this. We are entering the future. And then it came out. And it was not at all like this, and they lied completely.
it looked amazing. The rain effects are wild. This is before the days of goddamn ray tracing. To see one traffic light go off and completely destroy all of these cars and mess up traffic was something I was excited to see. Like, this shit was kind of wild too. You could like take cover while you're getting shot up by mobsters, rescue people who were stuck inside. I mean, the amount of detail you were seeing was just never replicated at all in the final product whatsoever. You know, it's insane that every time I watch this, I think to myself, there was probably a version of this game sitting inside a Ubisoft server. We just never ended up getting it. Now, there's been a lot of fan mods and patches to get this stuff working, but it's still nowhere close to the lie that Ubisoft sold us. And of course, you can imagine when this game finally dropped, everything sort of changed. It didn't look as good as this. It didn't look close to as good as this. But yeah, it's one of those things where, like, if you pre-order a product and you get hyped for something, do not ever trust any of these gaming companies.
Yeah, not to mention, which Assassin's Creed was just completely broken, they sold it anyway. Well, I guess all of them for a while there. Like, after Assassin's Creed 4. Assassin's Creed 4 broken when it launched? I don't remember. I don't think so. That was more like the 360 era. When we entered, like, the online-only Xbox One era, that's when everything started going to shit. Started getting broken games where they just released patches.
It's crazy to think that this still turned out to be a pretty good game in my opinion, and Watch Dogs 2 was even better. Watch Dogs Legion was like, you know, pulling my pubes out one by one, I'll be completely real. You know, it's actually one of those franchises from Ubisoft where they released a game.
I completely forgot this video was about Witcher 4. Yeah, he's saying don't trust these developers, especially CD Projekt Red, who are known to lie.
They literally only made 3 mainline entries and killed the entire franchise. It's actually wild. And you know, this level of lying and deception didn't just start here. Like 13 years ago, this is a clip from E3 2005, when I personally thought as a kid, whoa, the PS3 graphics are looking real good.
I was too young at this point to see anything like this and care about anything like this. I think I was like 9 years old.
This is a 480p version of Killzone 2, and nowadays, you're probably not going to just sit here and believe the lies. This is a pre-rendered cinematic, but at least thankfully in this case, the final actual game still looked really goddamn good. Now look, I'm not here to say that you shouldn't get excited for the next up-and-coming video game. Look,
well, I'm here to tell you that you shouldn't get excited about the next upcoming video game. It's just video games, man. Not that big a deal. And it's probably gonna be trash. No, you should shit all over every single company and then expect that they're gonna release trash. And when they don't, give them a pat on the back and a high five.
look, I'm excited for games like Death Stranding 2, okay? I'm excited to play a lot of games that are coming out. But when it comes for video games that are like 4 or 5 years out, this is the same.
Death Stranding 2. I can't wait to be standing on a beach for an hour listening to a girl talk. Great gameplay. I'm sorry. I need to calm down a little bit. I'm gonna love playing Death Stranding 2. But seriously, come on.
hype cycle that I saw myself jumping into with Cyberpunk 2077, at least when it came to Witcher 3. A game like Witcher is probably not going to drop during this gaming generation. I really personally believe that Witcher 4 will probably drop at some point down when the PS6 is a thing, when the Xbox Series X, whatever the hell they're going to name their system, if they even have a follow-up system, which I think they will, or probably on things like the Switch 2. But I don't actually personally believe that this game is going to drop right now. So getting excited for the tech demonstration and getting hyped for the game itself, the industry is not past, you know, this footage does not represent the game, all right? Anytime I see that in anything, I just turn the entire video off. I turn my brain off.
Yep. Even when I don't see that, even when I just see, especially like cinematic trailers, if it's not straight up gameplay on a regular system that people would have, I'm not interested. I know that you're just trying to manipulate and lie and get as many people excited who aren't paying attention or who are just ignorant or downright retarded. You want to get them to fall for it. And they are. I keep seeing it. People are excited about it. They're like, oh, this gameplay looks amazing. And I'm like, dude, do you not know how to read? Apparently not.
I just realized this is not what the final product is actually going to look like. And while we've made strides in being honest to consumers, you know, when game developers sell us a product, sometimes it's always worth being hesitant, especially when looking at the track record of a lot of these companies where they show you something that looks so good that you almost can't believe it to be true. And then turns out release day, when that comes, it actually wasn't true whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. Every fucking time. There's just a few instances where I can think of where that was not the case. Sometimes it's even okay if they tell you straight up that, like, hey, we've done some weird things to this to make this look pretty. This will not be out on day one, but we'll get to this point, like Baldur's Gate 3, and we trusted them, and we got way more than we asked for. Way more. 10 out of 10 game right there.
And all you're doing is sitting on a pre-ordered pile of dog shit that you probably should have waited on. You probably should have let the company cook, release it first, and earn that $70 or $80 price tag that now they're charging for. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.
I don't buy new video games even. I do not care. I just watch videos reacting to stuff about it to figure out what I'm possibly going to buy in the future. Not very many games that I buy, like 2 or 3 a year. Sometimes, if there's a massive sale on like a bundle of games, I'll get that. Just like the other day, I paid $25, got like 15 games. It was incredible. And one of those games was The Evil Within. I got BioShock 1, 2, and... No, I didn't get 1. Just 2 and Infinite. With the remastered version of 2. And like... so many Command and Conquer games, like all of them, I think. And I think there was a couple more games that I got. I'm just blanking out on. Anyway, don't get hyped for games, man. And if you do, don't pre-order. And if you think a game's gonna be broken day one, don't buy it day one. There's gonna be copies. It's gonna be available. Just wait a week. Wait 2 weeks. It might even go on sale because it's garbage. Buy a t-shirt down there in the description. I'm out.